Hey guys, how's it going? I'm just doing another follow-up video to making the pizza crust. So, I looked at the video I uploaded, and honestly, I don't really like how I did it in the video. So I'm gonna do another one right quick for you, just so you can see what it's supposed to look like. In that one, we had too little amount of water and oil, so it wound up like with 2 cups of flour, it wound up perfectly absorbed. There was no moisture left, but that's not really how we want to start our dough. Actually, what we want to do, so here, we're going to start off the same yeast process. This is a standard mason jar. Here you've got hot water, okay? It's just like, it's, it's hot to the touch. It's not scalding. I'm gonna add. I'll make sure it's a little bit hot. So basically, it's like, okay, you want hot water to the point where now it's like out. It's like gonna be painful on your hand. So now you have. So this is your cup of water. Okay, and we're gonna let it sit, just steam off just a little bit. You don't want to shock your yeast, but you want to have enough warmth in there so that it's gonna rise. So we have. Where's sugar? Sugar is here. Okay. So this is important, guys. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to add the yeast. We're going to, let's see. So this is like the top layer here. You just have enough yeast to cover the top layer. And then you basically add sugar. Maybe this is a tablespoon here, but you're doing the same technique. You're just kind of like trying to get it on the top, just to cover it with one layer. And okay, and so now, don't do more than 2 tablespoons of sugar. Otherwise, you're going to have a really, really sweet tasting thing. But what should happen is it should ferment. It should begin to rise. You shouldn't have sugar in your final product. It should just be nice and frothy. So, guys, I'm going to pause this. I'm going to put this in a warm place for about 10 minutes, and then we're going to continue making that pizza crust. Okay, well, here you go, guys. This should happen in about a few minutes. If you don't have something like this, you've messed up somewhere. So, basically, you want a half a mason jar with warm water, okay? It's got to be hot. It's got to be close to hot, to the point where it's boiling water. You put it in the mason jar. You let it breathe a little bit. You add a good healthy dose of yeast, pizza yeast, and then you add sugar, and then you mix it up and you let it sit. And it should get nice and thick like this already, like in 5-10 minutes. If it's doing a thin ring, you haven't done hot enough water, you don't have enough yeast in there, there's not enough sugar in there, there's too much water in there. So basically you want half of this jar to be hot water, almost scalding hot water. You let it breathe just a little bit, then you add the yeast and the sugar, just so you don't want to shock the yeast to be too hot, but just it's got to be nice amount of heat, and it should be enough yeast so that it's like decent, but you don't want too much water, so you want just half the thing of water. So that's kind of it in a nutshell, to make sure you get nice froth like this. Okay, so now I also have a garlic that's minced up here. What we're going to do is we're going to add this to the flour. So basically the proportion is like this. If you imagine that this is about a cup, you're gonna want to mix in a cup of flour with this cup of yeast water. And so in addition to the garlic, in addition to the water, in addition to the cup of flour, we're going to add a little bit of olive oil and salt into this liquidy mixture, because when you're doing 1-to-1, it's still going to be like wet sand. But that's exactly what we want at the beginning. Okay. So you can see I'll zoom in here. So you have the garlic here. Now I'm going to add the froth, the frothy water like this. And now I'm gonna add oil. Not too much oil, just enough oil. Then a little bit of salt, you know. And now we're gonna start adding the flour. So, you know, I'm gonna eyeball about a cup of flour, and we're gonna just start mixing it in. You know, it's still gonna be wet sand, and then over time we're gonna get it to the consistency that we want. Okay, and if you can see here, I've got the pizza flour, and this is very important. So this is eventually when we make our pizza, it's gonna go into the air fryer. And so what you have here, it's almost like you're making crepes or something like that. Or like potato mixture or something at first. Pancake mixture. And then you're just mixing in the flour. You know. Okay, so here already we may have enough where it's gonna get us a nice coagulated dough. But I bet you we're still gonna be on the wet side. So now at this point, it's like I can start working it with my hand. I can feel the, you know, there's like, I don't know what this is right here. It's like a little piece of plastic or something. I don't know how that got in there. Yeah, make sure. Oh, that's the garlic. Okay, piece of plastic. Okay, so now see how I'm just gonna sprinkle this. We're gonna process this dough. It's gonna absorb a little bit more. So you're gonna feel the garlic in there. Okay, and now you can see that it's like, you know, it's not raw anymore. It's starting to look like a proper dough. So I don't wanna mess with it too much more. What I want to do is let it rest. I want to let the dough rise, and we're gonna address it in about 20 minutes and see where we're at with it. It should be good. We should have some good dough here. Yeah. So just let it sit like this, and we'll put on a 20-minute timer. Okay, guys, I don't know if you're seeing this, but the dough is starting to rise, and you can see it's starting to get raw. So what we're gonna do here, we're gonna just add a little bit of flour to the top like this. You know, you might have to do this a few times, and basically we're gonna just like knead the dough down. Flatten it into like this. There we go. And now we're gonna let it sit some more. So basically, we're going to let the dough rise. The dough begins to rise, and then what happens is it gets raw as it's rising because you didn't put enough flour on the, so it's like basically, this is about a pizza dough, like an extra large amount of pizza dough. What we're going to do, we're going to let it keep rising, and then we're going to cut it into like small pieces. And then we're going to roll that out for the purpose of our air fryer. But it's already looking pretty good. This is already this is already decent dough. But I'm hoping that it's going to rise some more. So I'm going to just put it on the top of the fridge. Going to keep it like this into like a nice little ball. And let's see what happens in the next 10 minutes.